Okay, hello again, and welcome to Chapter 3 for Management Information Systems. So this time we'll be studying how information systems and organizations work together and strategies for dealing with putting information systems into the organizations and stuff like that. So once again, it's Chapter 3 in your book. This is version 14. The newer version 16. Well, that was sitting at home. Hopefully you've got the newer version. Anyway, most of this, all the slides are based off of the 16th edition. This is my older one I used to teach out of. So anyway, as with the other chapters, we've got our key terms up here, so the things to go through. And once again, it's got the page numbers to look up these terms. So good things to know, because like after we do chapter 4, guess what? That's when we get that test where you get to answer the questions on these things. So looking through, these are words used throughout this chapter. Best idea is to go to define them, because you may be seeing them again, and a matching situation or multiple choice situations to get all this stuff down. Some of them I'll be skipping over because, but hey, they're in the book. You're responsible for it, okay? All right. So anyway, as we're going through things and looking at organizations, and what we call this one, information systems, organizations, and strategy. We talked about what information systems are. So not just computers, not just software, but the whole thing and how it dealt with different things within your organization, right? So let's see, we're going to come in here. Let's get what is an organization. That's a part of. I'm skipping. My mouse is a little bit sensitive, so it keeps flipping these slides a little too fast for me. So, organization, well, it sounds like something that's organized. There's some kind of structure to something. So, any business, it's going to be organized in some way, or even non-profits, banks, hospitals, fast food restaurants, even Aunt Betty's boutique downtown. It's an organization. There is some structure to it, as something that's been put together on how they work. You don't just have random stuff every day, and so it's organized. So it's got organization. Okay. Anyway, we look at these things too. That first picture, it's kind of small here in the video. We had this one in our last chapter on how information systems work. You had input, and you had processing and output, and different ways that this interacts with the outside world to get input into your information system. It does something, and then there's output to it, and whether that's part of your other processes or what. Well, guess what? Your organization is the same way. You have inputs into your organization. You have something your organization does, and then you have output. So if you're a manufacturing environment, we make products, well, we have to have things come in. Our supplies, the parts, even the raw steel, if that's the thing. Someone mines the steel, brings it to us. Now we melt it down and cast it into a product, and then we send it out. You have to have people buying it, right? So you have your input, your processing, and your output. Every organization's got to have this. If it's a hospital, what is the input? Well, you've got sick people, you've got people with accidents or whatever. You process, you heal them, right? You do your testing, your treating, and once in a while you send them out. Lawyers, what is their input? Well, people go into jail. You process with the court, and then you try to get the guys out of jail, whatever the case may be, right? So everything, input, processing, output, just like an organization. Inputs from the environment, outputs to the environment. Now, a lot of times when you've got your business going, you've got the way in which you do things, right? And if it's been around for a long time, sometimes you've been doing these things for a long time. So someone who's been with a company for 20 years, he knows how that company works inside and out. And problem is, we bring a new system in. Now what happens? Well, sometimes it creates chaos. It says it can turn your business upside down sometimes. And why is that? Because everyone's used to doing what they do. I've got my job, I know how to do my job, and suddenly you changed it up with a change in the system. And once again, it might just be the process that changes. And sometimes because we're putting an information system in, or a different information system, we went with new software. Well, now there's a different way you have to do stuff for this software. And so once again, you no longer have the rights and the privileges inside this process that you used to. And so now you're all, and start pulling your hair out and whatever. And okay, what's this? People's rights, privileges, obligations, responsibilities, and feelings are all out of kilter. So you got to watch out for that, what's going on in your organization. Also, part of what is happening now is used to when someone had their job to do up in management levels or something, they would get information passed to them. They could see it here, contemplate on that information, study it, do whatever, and then pass on what they need to someone else. But what happens now with instant data coming in that we talked about? Hey, these information systems can grab all this stuff and feed it so much faster. What happens? You end up with people that would normally be down the chain, that you have time to look at things and pass on, that they're getting that information before you do sometimes. And then they have questions about it. They're coming at you. So think of a press conference. Some bad thing has happened. As we're dealing with right now, what's the big news item of today? Now, this being Thursday, January 30th of 2025. There was a military helicopter crashed into an airplane in Washington, D.C. And everyone has questions. Everyone's wanting the answers before we even know what happened. The press is all over. The press is out here speculating because they have this much data that got to them instantly. And as things are coming out and live stream videos and everything, they're getting all this data, and the people that need to know what happened don't know yet. They're trying to find out, but they're being hounded because they haven't got it yet. Because the other people are getting it just as fast or faster than they are. So that's a danger of this part and how it can put us into turmoil. So look at your business now. Something's going wrong in your business, and we've got things connected to our suppliers and our clients, but our clients are hearing, there's something bad happening that now might affect our suppliers, so now they're worried about them getting their products from us because they know what's happening over here. So we've got to watch out and see how to handle that. That's the part. We got to know how to handle, because it's not going to get any better. So, so as we look at things, features of an organization. What makes an organization an organization? Well, a clear division of labor. So even in, when you look at the hospital, division of labor, there's doctors, there's nurses, and there's those who are just bringing people in and out. There's people in the building department. You don't go to the building department with a broken arm, do you? So different people will take care of different things in that organization. And hierarchy of authority. When you come in that door, is it the doctor seeing you, or do you see the low-level people first, and then they get you back to the sometimes it's an intern, what do you call the medical interns? You get them, you get the nurses, whoever settled you in, and after a while, a doctor appears for about 2 minutes and disappears again. The hierarchy of authority, everyone reports to somebody else up that chain. Other manufacturing environments, the guy on the floor here reports to his supervisor, he reports to the plant manager reports to some other manufacturing mid-level management, he reports up to the CEO and these guys, whoever needs own up that chain. Abstract rules and procedures. Hopefully your organization has rules and procedures. This is what we do, that means who we are. So the rules we had when I worked at EDS, everybody wore suits. You had a suit and tie every day because a client might see you walking the hallways, and we want this nice professional environment. Well, that's different than you go to Walmart and see the Walmart workers, right? And used to, they had their blue vests. I don't know if they changed that every once in a while, but you'll have rules that need to be applied for this work environment. And procedures, this is what we do to do what we do. And what are the abstract rules? What does it mean when it's abstract? Well, here's the set of rules. Now, each situation, when we have something to do in a situation, we apply our rules and procedures. But we may have to tweak for this situation. There's the procedure tweaked for this situation. There's the procedure tweaked for this situation. Impartial judgment. Well, you'd hope. So when you got a manager dealing with people here, and as they're doing their things, I don't treat this one differently when they're doing the same job as this one. Right? Hey, you get to have 5 breaks a day, you only get 2, and no breaks for you. It's impartial way that we run an official organization, right? Technical qualification for positions. Now, if you're a one-man show, I've been there. I have to do it all. But then there's things for different people do different things. When I needed someone to do my accounting work, I needed someone who majored in accounting. They handle the books. Right? I'm doing IT work. If I hire people to work for me, I need them to be able to do IT work. If I just need someone to handle the front desk when people bring stuff in, they don't need as much technical. They need some people skills to talk to people. Now, sometimes those technical guys don't have the people skills, so they can stay in the back and they can work on a computer. These people talk to people at the door. This one does the accounting work. So different qualifications for different positions. Maximum organizational efficiency. That's what all this other stuff will give you. That's your goal. We did that slide. Get on off that. Now, once you have all these things together, a big organization is a bureaucracy, right? Usually bureaucracy is a bad word. But we have lots of bureaucracies out there. It's a bureaucratic way of doing things, right? And so you think it's slow, cumbersome, it's going to take a long time to change. You get something big rolling, it takes more effort to change it to a different direction. But that's the thing, if you've got something that works, you don't change it too much. So, but it needs to be able to be tweaked. And sometimes that does take a little while. All right, so routines and business processes. What do we do in here? Well, everyone has their standard operating procedures. Once again, if nothing else is out of the ordinary, this is the way we do things. And that with the politics and cultures hinder success. And why is that? But we'll see what happens when things change. Can we change to match it? And that's where sometimes our routines are going to interfere with success. And so what's that going to be? I say here we got organizational politics. Politics come involved in our stuff? Well, everyone gets politics going. Why? Because everybody working for you has their own goal. They're not just here to serve at the master's bidding, right? I've got my goal. I'm here to make money, right? I need to pay my bills at home. I need a new car. My house is too small. I need to expand because I got more kids on the way, something like, or I got kids headed to college. I've got my goals. Working for you just as a means of getting it. Or I'm trying to earn my way up the ladder. And so I'm going to do whatever it is to gain up. It doesn't necessarily mean the best for the company. Or they're like, yes, I'll do whatever this company needs. Hey, it might be my company, right? So we need to do this. So it says the end result is organizational politics. Because everyone's trying to do something, and it can kill changes. If we're needing to adapt, but somebody else who's got some power somewhere through this politics doesn't want to change, what happens? Now our culture is the other part. Let's see, our social culture, how we dress, our language we use, the food we eat, different things like that is part of our local culture or whatever we're in. But we've got culture inside as well. I already talked about at EDS, we had our suits. And so it was a very professional looking thing. And it's talking about Google being very laid back. And I had an interview with Microsoft before, and I had this 15-year-old intern that came and talked to us. He's wearing his shorts and no shoes. He said, this is how he goes to work. He's barefoot, and he skateboards through the hall, and over here we're playing volleyball at this time, and this and that, and it sounded like they never did any work. It was just so relaxed and laid back around there. And I thought, that explains a lot about the operating system. Why does it keep crashing? Because all the employees are running around skateboarding through the halls. And, it's your bigger companies like IBM, EDS, all these guys, they're going to be a little bit more strict than that, right? Their company has some different goals, and they want to have a different image. And so that culture that is developed inside the company is part of that. In the organizational environments, well, different companies have different sizes, right? Once again, all the way down to Aunt Betty's boutique. It just might not be her and her two best friends running the place. All the way up to Texas Instruments with 30,000 employees worldwide. You got something different going on in there, right? Different goals. If we need to increase production by 20% this year to meet goals, or we're just trying to keep the door open. What is our goal this year? We're just doing this for fun. This is just something to keep me out of retirement or from sitting at home watching TV. Hey, I run this little shop. It just gives me my little social interaction I need, not big goals. Something somewhere. That's part of our environment. And so, how can that restrict growth? Well, what if you're too big and you got too much going on? That's one thing that can restrict your growth into other things because you're too busy too many different ways, or you're too focused on one thing to grow. You don't have the personnel, or you need training, different things like that in that environment. Lots of words there. So you need to read those on your own. Now, it talks right here, disruptive technologies. I think that's something they just threw in the middle of here. But if you read it, what is a disruptive technology? Something that comes along that's a game changer. And that's going to be one of your questions for this week. Let's talk about a disruptive technology that has changed industry and changed our society. They talk about typewriters. When the typewriter was a major thing. It changed the business world when that came out, because before that you had people were having to handwrite everything, but you want to be able to read it with people's bad handwriting. Here, So now, hey, they developed the movable type printing press, right? You pick out all these different letters and put up there, and then squish it down with a piece of paper and ink and make a whole page at a time. Someone came up with a typewriter. Boom, revolutionized. Everyone can sit down and make something. That was great. And then something else happened. And now we throw that typewriter away. Well, some people. Most people have thrown their typewriter away. My daughter, actually being kind of wanting to be an author, and she does journalism, she actually got a typewriter just so she could get that old time feel. So something else took the place of that, and so you can read that part. But I'll have you think of something else that has been a disruptive technology. But we have to continually adapt and change. That's the idea behind this. Different things happen, and if we can't adapt, what's going to happen? If we can't change, if we let those politics get in the way, we let the culture of our environment get in the way, we let new technologies get in our way that we're not going to adapt to the new stuff, what happens? Yeah, you go out of business if you can't. And we'll talk about reasons for that part here. Now, one thing that also leads to having to have different ways of dealing with these changes is because of the structure. So we had the environment, and the organization to start with, you got the culture and the environment and the politics. The other is the structure. Just how is this company put together? And so, hey, we've got a nice little graphic here. So, think of different businesses out there. There's this entrepreneurial structure. Now, this we'll call that a startup. And you know, familiar with a startup, it's a brand new business came up. Some guy got some funding. He took a big loan out and put his house up for sale, or his grandfather died and left all this money. Something, had a big GoFundMe page, and okay, he's got a bunch of money now, and he's got an idea. And so he starts hiring these people. He's got this very laid-back environment because we're going to do this. We're going to change the way the business world works. How can they come in and do this? Well, because they haven't been around for 20 years or 50 years or 100 years or something already, where they've got their procedures, their culture, all this, that hasn't been developed yet. So, oh yeah, we can be wide open, we're going to do whatever. And it's usually a very simple structure because that guy, I'm going to change it up. While I'm the CEO, I'm going to be right here working with everybody, one-on-one, and it's very thin layers of the hierarchy. So, yeah, we're going to get out here and do this. And everyone's pretty much free to do whatever they want as kind of brainstorming to get this thing up and running, right? Next, we got the machine bureaucracy, large bureaucracy in a slow changing environment, kind of a mid-sized firm. They've been around a while. They've kind of already narrowed down what they do and how they do it, because everyone that's been there doing whatever they want, okay, now we've formed that in kind of to our procedure, and now that's our policy. It has developed. And as we grow, you've got more people. Okay, we need people to manage those people. So we just added a layer. And as that grows, we need more people to manage those managers. And it's like, okay, there's too much information for me to hear from all these different guys. Okay, I need someone who can summarize that for me. Okay, these guys report to these who summarize it, then they can pass on. And you go back even to Roman times. You end up with a commander who's over a legion, This guy commands 1,000 people. And there's a guy over him that commands 1,000 of these guys that manage 1,000 of these. Or someone who manages 50 of these guys that manage 1,000 of these. So they started forming that up so you can move companies and all this kind of stuff. All right, so divisionalized bureaucracy. You get into really big company that they're doing so many different things. You can't have one real person over all of it. So like they're pointing out General Motors here. Well, you've got the car manufacturing people over here. Well, guess what General Motors also has? They can make airplane engines. Like some of these things you fly American Airlines, and they've got this thing. It's got maybe motors from General Motors or something on it. This way. Who knows what all else General Motors does? They also have all the dealerships everywhere. While those are individual people, they have to have people that can control stuff with the dealerships, interface with them. Over on this side, you've got the finance division. They do their own financing. Well, you don't want your dealership guys or the guys manufacturing the cars handling the finances, do you? So they've got those broken into different things to handle different products and services. When it comes up, you still got one big major leadership group. Because, hey, you buy General Motors stock, you're buying all that part, right? Professional bureaucracy. Goods and services depend on expertise and knowledge. So, yeah, they're not producing stuff, they're producing knowledge. So, well, banks, universities, like this. What's our product? You. What do we bring in? What is our supplier? You. So, what are we doing? We bring you in, we process you by giving you more knowledge on different things, and then we send you out. And now, hopefully, after we send you out, it's in a good way that you enjoyed your time here, you learned a lot here, you did stuff, it benefits you, and what you do benefits your company, and then they wind up sending us more people in for us to work on to send out. So, yeah. And adhocracy. Adhocracy? That's kind of a weird word. It's almost like chaos. A task force. We come up with different people from different things that come together to do something, and then they go somewhere else. Form up with other people, go in to accomplish a certain task, go off to do something else. Consultants. So, one of the things I did at EDS, they had a group that was consultants that they could send out somewhere else. Texas Instruments needed people for a short-term project. Well, they hired some of us from EDS to come over. TI paid EDS, EDS paid us like half of what they got. So they made money off of us while we're over here working here, and stuff like that. But yeah, but TI used contractors from different companies, like 3 or 4 different companies that came together. So we've got employees of all these different companies working together until that project was done, and then TI could move us off to somewhere else, or they could put us somewhere else within Texas Instruments, and since we already had that knowledge to go. So short-lived teams and a weak central management. Because it's like, yeah, who was my boss? Well, I had one boss over here and one boss over here, and well, this is my day-to-day boss was here, but this one here for any paperwork, healthcare benefits, all these things, and so there wasn't one person over me, really. All right. Other features. Well, the bottom line comes down to organizations and information systems. They work together, and so we want your information system needs to enhance how your organization works. We don't want square peg in a round hole. If we just say, okay, here's the common information system everyone needs to use. Boom, it doesn't matter what you're doing in your industry, change up how your industry works so that you can use our software. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of software out there like that. QuickBooks, I don't know if any of y'all have ever dealt with QuickBooks, but it's a very widely used small business accounting system. But you pretty much have to do things their way in order to have it work for you. And that's one of the things that my wife does not really like it as an accountant. But it's designed for small businesses to use that might not be professional accountants. So real accountants don't like it, but small businesses say, hey, it takes care of most of the stuff for me. I'll do what I have to do. Now, issue comes and, okay, they're trying to change that whole technology on us. Because for 20 years, 30 years, these people have been using QuickBooks installed on their computers. Well, the new idea is to go with the cloud-based systems. And so they're really making it hard to run the computer-based version, the one where you install it on your own servers, because with that one, you buy it one time, and it's yours. And it's good for like about 3 years before they have a new version. And well, there's all the new tax laws that the government passes. Well, we built that into here. We're not going to support that one anymore with updates. Our programmers can only keep up with so much. And so we're going to cut that one out. If you want our support anymore, you're going to have to go with our new version for several $1,000s. Well, now they're saying, no, we're not even going to sell you that version anymore. You need to go to the online version that only costs like $150 a month for so many users, and for this one we do more here, or you pay more here, and you have to keep paying every month, or annually every year, or we cut it off and you can't get your data. Oh darn, keep paying. That's good for QuickBooks, because they have a steady income now. Or the other one, if once you bought it, it was yours. Now what? Well, now we got that steady income. Good for them. Not so good for the business owners, mind you. But there are advantages, and we'll talk some of that here in a little bit. So that impact of that information system on your organization. But once again, it depends on how it works as to the impact it can have on you. Once again, more data, faster data. You can reduce the number. Let's see, is that part in here? Here, I think it is. Yeah. If you had a meeting, it talks about them having to have meetings, and everyone's talking about things, and we need to work out things, and you get all these different people together. But I need to give them the information of what we're talking about first. And so you'd go and one person wrote out all this stuff. They may have typed it on the typewriter or something. You get to some point, you may have that on the computer, but then we go and then print out all the different copies. They might have the admin go to the copy machine, make 15 copies, take it to the meeting, pass it around to everybody. Everyone talks about it. They go back and they make their enhancements to what needs to be done. 15 different people writing on paper. Scratching out, writing it. Now, they all get it back to you. Now we have to go through here, get all those different people's ideas back into one document. So now we have to recreate another one and make sure it's all in that. And then I'll get this back out to everybody so everyone can see everybody's changes and see if they need to change anything again. So you look at how much paper's being generated, how much time's being wasted. This person, that's just, their whole job is just standing at the copy machine. Well, now we have stuff that's Google Docs. Y'all played with Google Docs. SharePoint, I think Microsoft product. It was someone else's. Microsoft bought it. So now you got SharePoint. Teams, that one comes up on your computer sometimes whether you want it to or not. Hey, here's this great thing everybody needs to use. No, I'm on my home computer. Thank you, Microsoft, but I don't need Teams. Uninstall. But it's you can coordinate and cooperate inside of documents. One document, everyone sees the same document at the same time, and whatever, they can all put notes in and make suggested changes, and it will cross out some things and show you their proposed change. And then once everyone accepts it, it's one document there. Then you don't have to print it. So now, that person that's only job was to live by the copy machine, you save some money there. You didn't need that person for that anyway. They can go do other things more important. The amount of paper they printed. Most of those big copy machines, you rent those from somebody. And you pay them by the page every month, depending on what you print out. Because they're supplying the toner, the wear and tear on the machine, repair on the machine should it break. So that's when you're leasing it. And yeah, pay by the copy. And so there's a little counter that goes. And so that's kind of why sometimes you have this code you have to press in to say, who did this? So, okay, we're only giving you 1,000 pages a month. What, did you bring your kid's library book in here and photocopy it so they can return it and have a free copy? I don't know. Okay. My father did that once for me at his work. Yeah. So, yeah, if we can save money on these things and make more efficient things, so that's the economic impact we can have by using a better technology. I talked about that's their story they're telling here. And I said, I was hinting at how it can flatten the organization. Everyone winds up getting the information. We don't have to summarize it up to these people and then summarize it up here. So decision making can be made at a lower level because they're getting all the information they need. So that way management cost declines, and more of our money and time is put into actually making our product rather than sitting in meetings and paying more people just to have meetings about meetings about meetings. And so we can bring that down. And so that's the part here. More accurate information on time. And then they can make decisions faster. And with that, fewer managers are required. That's part of middle managers, we call them. Then in the 80s, that was one of the big things. The companies were growing exponentially, but not with the workers and not at the CEO. It's all in the middle. Just people who were reporting to each other. And it just exploded. Middle management was the thing. And then when it came time to cut people, of course, a lot of times all these middle managers wanted to cut people down here, cut people down here. Well, these are the ones doing the work. You can only cut so many people that are doing the work before all you have left is managers. And who are they managing? So that's the part of, they started wisening up. And the CEOs would say, hey, let's start cutting the middle managers. So they were the endangered species at the time. It's like, okay, we got decision makers and we have workers. All these people in the middle just trying to decide who to fire, who to hire. They're the ones that started getting targeted. So, yeah, fewer managers, the better. If the more you can enable your workers, the lower level people that are doing the work, the more they're enabled, the better decisions they can be making down here, the more profit you're going to make in the long run, and the faster response you're going to have. That's a post-industrial organization. So what's post-industrial time mean? Yeah. You have that industrial environment again. Now, lower level in an industrial environment. Now, this kind of sounds maybe a little demeaning or something, but professional workers tend to be self-managing. So you're higher up kind of people. You get into like lawyers and engineers and all these kind of people, more self-managing than your factory line workers. Well, why is that? Well, the factory line worker comes in and they're concerned with their little piece of the job. They're doing the stuff here, and that's all they really need to do. Like the person working the front counter at McDonald's doesn't need but the ordering and the suppliers and all this stuff so that I can get my meat in time to do this stuff. If they're just having to run the counter, they can be really good at running the counter, really good people, but they have nothing to do with the rest of the business. It's not their job. Now that's a part of what you'll hear a lot of people say, it's not my job, it's not my job. As you more professional environment, you start understanding your piece of the puzzle more. If you look at the entire business as a jigsaw puzzle, and here's your little piece. No one little piece laying on the table is going to do much. You have to see how it connects with the pieces around it, right? And you see from there how that fits the overall picture. And the more you see that, and the more you're working, the more information you have, the more you can manage yourself, because you know what you need to get done. And so we can, let's say, decision making become more decentralized, so you're not waiting for someone up here to make all the decisions and tell you what to do. You're more, okay, I know within my realm what I need to do because of how my realm interacts with the other realms. And that spreads, once again, throughout the firm. Right there. Now, the part adding in our technology too with that was, the technology is giving them that information they need to do that. Also encourages the use of task force. So, within a short period of time, we talked about the people coming together to get the task done, and then you can break up, go do a different task with different people, get it done. Oops, I wouldn't care. I need a pause button every once in a while, but it didn't give a pause. It'll just stop my video and then start a new one. So, yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Now I can read this. I've got this whole thing updated. The important things to know. Yeah, how's this one? Resistance to change. Once again, the way we've always done stuff, why do we need to change it? Technology doesn't automatically transform it. So we've got to get people changed. What's our culture, the way we do stuff, lines of communication, it says there. So one of the big things that changed is when we added the internet. I had my thoughts together earlier. Once again, just give me a moment here and get it all back. Sometimes I start talking, I forget the other stuff. Yeah. Yeah, how about even dress codes? Those change over time. Yeah. We got a new CEO at EDS. He decided, hey, we can start having casual Fridays. Wear khaki pants and a polo shirt. And okay, if you're celebrating something, you can have a casual. Well, it started off that way. If you're celebrating something, a big accomplishment, you can have a casual Friday. Then we started finding something to celebrate every Friday. Hey, you did a great job this week answering your email. Hey, our whole team gets to do this. Then the new CEO came in and said, hey, casual every day. Next thing you know, he changed the logo. Next thing you know, he sold off half the business. Next thing you know, EDS doesn't exist anymore. Someone else bought it out. You can't change too much. That's the part. You have your culture, and when you get rid of your culture, you get rid of your company. So changing too fast can kill things. I'm waiting for it to spin. Okay. As we do the internet, I had my thoughts together earlier. They're leaving me. Now remember that. You moved it. I could swear it was in here. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the post office. There's another place that talked about the post office, and I was thinking that, and the stuff that was associated with it wasn't there. It mentions it somewhere else. So, but once again, the post office thing, we're getting mail delivered, pieces of paper. On the 1990s, this great thing came up called the internet when we started getting email. Well, I don't have to send you paper anymore. Well, now, so that's how we got all of our advertisements and bank statements and bills. Everything came in what we call snail mail now. Now it's not, you get it in their email, all our advertisements even are in the emails. So what does the post office do? Have they shut down? No, they've had to adapt. So if everything's going online, we need to go online in order to survive. And so now you can go online at USPS.com, you can prep up all your shipping and buy stamps, whatever, all online. So they had to do that or they would die. So we'll get into all the bigger part of that here shortly. All right, anytime you're bringing in information system into an organization, it's naturally going to cause some changes. So just even a new software package. The new software, we used to do things this way, now we have to do things this way. And with this one we can store documents electronically, where this one we entered the data and put the papers in a file. This one we scan it in and we can see it online. Well, that changes up all kind of stuff. Our storage space and this, and now this whole room where we use for storage, we won't have to have storage anymore. We can convert that into more offices. Just because of a new software piece. You see ramifications that run through that. But still, it's the people who will make it or break it. If someone refuses to use the new stuff, I just don't know how to use that scanner. I just don't know how to do this. I'm just not going to do it. One of two things happen. Either they get fired and we find someone who will, or they do finally have to adapt, or do you keep the old software going for 10 years past what it was good for? And I've got some people as IT clients that were that kind of case. And it's just so old a software. It's not supported anymore, and you have problems. You know you've got this problem coming. Just bite the bullet, update to the newest version. But yeah, can't tell some people, especially if they're not 70 years old and still running their own company. This is the way I've done things for 40 years. I'm not going to change it. So, let's see. When you're planning a new system, we got to put new stuff in, right? Things like the environment. We talked about the environments that we're in, right? Does it make sense to put the same stuff in every different kind of place? That structure, whether it's the big company or the one that's multiple places, or the new startup guy, the hospital environment, different structures need different solutions. The culture in the place. But again, is it that professional, is it laid back? Your systems will mimic that as well. Type and style of leadership. Y'all ever heard of micromanagers? Yes, those they will chase employees off really quick, but there's things that if you've got freedom to do stuff and release here and do this, but you've got a micromanager, he wants to approve everything before you do it. Well, there are some systems that will allow that. You get it ready, put it up, it pops into his thing, he can just approve, and you can go. Others, if your system doesn't have that, but they're still trying to be a micromanager, and it's not going to work out. Principal interest groups affected and attitudes of workers. Yeah, if you're trying to change up stuff in a manufacturing environment and they're adding in sensors everywhere, so make sure that the machines are working right, well, people might enjoy that. But if I'm doing it in a way that, well, you're the one that was supposed to monitor the machine, I don't need you anymore, what are all my workers going to think? Yeah, all of your jobs are about to go away. I could use robots for you with sensors. That's it has some attitudes of workers really quick there, and so yeah, who's this going to affect? How can we get the best benefits out of them and it? Task decisions and processes that will be affected. For some jobs, it's better to employ technology than employ a person. Because once you get, well, that's still the one here. Companies need to tailor their information systems to the needs of the organization instead of letting the wonders of technology drive the organization. So sometimes it's better for technology than people, sometimes it's not. It depends on your environment, your people, what you're doing, your purpose for being. So just because software can do it doesn't mean it should. And just because a person can do it doesn't mean they should. Because once again, what if we stuck to the person copying things off on the copy machine? If there's a better way of doing it than just this person spending their time doing this all the time, let's go with this. But if it's something where we're going to lose personal interaction with our suppliers and clients, such that we rely on our relationship with them, and we're going to replace that relationship with software, that might hurt us. So it just depends on your situation, right? Now we got this thing called Porter's competitive forces, and as we deal with that, these are things in place around when you're trying to have your business and what's going to be affected around it. So you've got your traditional competitors. So if you look here, this little model here, this is your firm in the middle, and he's always at odds with his competitors. So we're going to say like something like Sears. You remember Sears and Roebuck? It was one of the earliest big companies of doing stuff. They put out a catalog in the 1920s or something, and you look through the catalog and order whatever you want. And so farmers out in rural areas could order stuff that only the big city had. It was great, You could even buy their Model T Ford from the Sears and Roebuck catalog. My wife's grandfather got his house plants and house kit from Sears and Roebuck catalog. And so it was the thing. Everyone else had to adapt to what Sears and Roebuck could do. All your local people now, that was their competition. And so we have your traditional competitors now. Think of a small town environment. You used to have a shoe store, and you had like men's clothing store over here, and you had the women's clothing store over here, and all this. In 1980s, a company called Walmart came to town. They had it all, and now they were the competition. And so if you couldn't compete because of your relationship with your clients, they'd go to Walmart. And well, Walmart had better prices. They were cheaper than you because you only sell this much. You need to make this much profit. Well, Walmart sells this much. You need to make this much profit on each one, so they make more profit overall. And if you're manufacturing something, how about textbooks? Hey, who's putting this one out? A company called Pearson puts this textbook out. Well, I've got another company that's doing it. Who does this one? Bartlett or something, I think was the name of this company. Jones and Bartlett. So you got two competing textbook companies. So they're trying to put the best textbooks out And traditionally, textbooks were really expensive. They've learned they got to drop that price now. There's more competition, and using ebooks now. And they're at, hey, availability. We don't have to have the hard published hardback book. Hey, look, see, this one's hardback. How could you save money? Let's go with the floppy softback one. I can sell, while this one is cheaper to produce, I can charge less for it than if an instructor cares about their students. They'll talk you into using the cheaper book instead of the expensive book. Or if there's used books available, these ways of saving money, if I can get more of you to come over to that company than this company, then they're going to win. So you got your traditional competitors that are out there working this way. Then there's new market entrants. People you weren't expecting that just come up. Up here, you know who your competitor is. And you've been tailoring your business to fight against them forever. And then suddenly this third guy comes in you've never seen before. He's got new ideas, new stuff, and cheaper. Maybe he can make it faster. Who's like one of the newest guys out there right now disrupting things? Temu. Every ad on Facebook leads you to Temu now. It used to be Wish. I think Temu's just Wish relabeled. I don't know. A lot of times it's very cheap stuff. You think you're getting a good deal. Hey, look at this great thing. It's like nothing like that. So a lot of times those companies won't last, but they draw people fast because it's cheap stuff and it's got a wide variety of stuff and it looks great. And if it wasn't Temu, who would you be going to? Well, Walmart was your traditional place to go. Now, who's my number one thing? If there's something kind of unique-ish I want, I don't know if it's there at Walmart. If I need it today, I'm going to go to Walmart. If I can wait a few days, Amazon. Hey, cool, here it is. Of course, for the next 3 weeks, I'll be seeing ads about whatever I just looked up, flowing through every device. But now, trying to compete with Amazon, Temu appears, the Chinese-based, and who knows what they've got. Is it any good or not? I ordered a lot of different stuff on Wish before. Most of it was garbage. I get in, it's like, this is not quite what that was talking about here. Now, I did order a sword. It's a replica of the Lord of the Rings sword that Aragorn had, and hey, that was pretty cool. It actually came from a guy in France that sold stuff through through Wish. So now there's another company I found just from ads on Amazon, but third party. Has all kind of cool blades and stuff. Anyway. So new market entrants, these guys pop up. Then there's substitute products. So we had our traditional competitors, new market entrants, and then substitute products and services. If I can't provide a quality of service to you that you are expecting, what are you going to do? Jump ship, go somewhere else. Biggest one, how about your internet service? Who's happy with their internet service? Well, I am, because, hey, I've got Cherokee County Electric Co-op, and they ran fiber optics to everywhere out in the country. It's out of 16, 20 miles outside of town. And I have fiber optic now, super fast speed. Now, before that, I had DSL that was really slow, but that company did a pretty well job keeping it on all the time. Who doesn't do a good job keeping it on all the time? Anyone have Frontier? Optimum? I call them Suboptimum because they on Facebook, different people around town will put up, oh, it's out again. This is out here, and it's been 3 days. I haven't had anything. Well, as I'm trying to run my business, I had Optimum. I was out for 10 days. With call after call to them, they'd send someone out, they'd cut a line. Oh, well, it takes someone else to run a new line. We gotta wait here. And I'm running a data center. And I have no internet for 10 days. I can't run a business that way. And so you go somewhere else. Say if you're out in the middle of nowhere, or even in town now, if Optimum or Frontier or one of these other guys can't do it, guess what? Starlink's out there. You put up this dish, and as long as it's not super heavy storms, you've got internet. And it's pretty fast. Less expensive than other satellite providers. Unlimited data, where the others, you get this much data a month for this price. Well, Starlink is this price for unlimited data, and where the other one has a delay of this long, theirs is this long, about like the other guys. So, hey, too bad for you. These other guys probably will not survive now that we've got these other options. Customers. Customers can really change up their stuff. It's a fickle. It's the first word they use. Keeping people happy. The old saying, you can't please all the people all the time, and some people you can't please any of the time. And so no matter what, and so they're gonna jump to their competitors. And now modern information stuff makes it easier. Well, 3 years ago, now I was using cell phone service with one of the cell companies, and it got to a point that I just couldn't get any data. And when I've got full signal, there's no data in half the town, and I'm trying to invoice people on the fly, and I can't get to the internet even though I've got full signal. So I can't run a business that way. So when the other companies was offering, hey, free phones and better service, I switched to them. All right, that's doing great everywhere. Now, there's back country roads, sometimes you have a little dip in service or something, but same time, 3 years passes, time to reevaluate, and going, hey, that company's offering new free phones. And I go to them, and they're like, oh, first of all, you talk to them for about 30 minutes, and they're setting everything up, and they're like, oh, let me see your phone. Oh, you have a little scratch right here on the screen? We consider that a broken screen. We can't give you that $1,000 trade-in for your phone. It's worth zero. It's like, it's a little scratch. It's not a broken screen. There's nothing wrong with LCD. It's all fine. Oh, but it's a little scratch. Well, at the same time, that other company over here has solved their data issues, and for the same price a month, they'll give me the $1,000 phone. I don't even have to worry about the scratched screen. So goodbye. I'll go to them. And so it depends on how you're treated. That one face-to-face interaction, and you can lose my business. And once again, with that, I just went online. I went home after the scratch screen thing. I went online, set up stuff for the new company, set up to transfer my phone numbers, do this, do that, do it all online. So they made it easy. I still had to wait 2 weeks while they ported my number over. And so for a while I had two phones. But okay. Suppliers. Well, yeah. You need your stuff. What happens if your supplier can't get your stuff to you? I say, well, if you can't get, remember, you have stuff come in, we process it, we send stuff out. If we can't get stuff in, we can't send anything out. We have nothing to process. So if you lose suppliers, and how can that happen? You have a strike in an industry. Sometimes, the guys at the port are going on strike. So that shut down the port, so anything being imported or exported, boom, you can't get anything. And so that happened a little while back. And so it's like anything coming in from China is sitting on boats offshore. Everything I've got runs out. The car companies were having an issue in 2020. They were building the cars here, but the processor chip that runs the computers in the car is made in China. And something happened at the semiconductor fab in China that they could not supply. And every vehicle of whatever brand, because they went through a single supplier in a different country, we could not build any cars. Well, they build them, but they're 99.9% done, sitting out there, but not usable because they don't have a processor chip. Finally, when it gets in, they do it all. But for a while, you couldn't even buy a used car because no new cars were available. All the used cars were selling like hotcakes. And you had the dealerships calling up, hey, I've got someone who would be interested in a car just like I want the one I sold you 3 years ago. Would you be willing to sell your car? Because I got someone who wants to buy it. So luckily we're out of all of that stuff now. And then disasters. Look at California with the wildfires. How much do you think that's going to affect people now? I say in the months to come, because whatever happened there affect other businesses that relied on that. And you went ahead suppliers in North Carolina after the hurricane hit. And they're still devastated through there. And other things I was looking at, flooding and stuff still in areas besides just the disaster stuff. There's fires. It's like wildfires in North Carolina in areas now that had already been decimated by the hurricane. So if you've got a supplier in North Carolina for anything, that's not going to be able to supply you. And then that means you won't be able to supply your clients. And then they'll try to go to someone else, right? Or find a substitute product. Well, that's what we might have to do. If you can't find a supplier, you need to find a substitute for what you're doing. See how all that part works together. So that's our competitive forces right there. So information system strategies for dealing with that. Low-cost leadership. Because we already talked about stuff going on there. Says every staff member has access to the information. We can help reduce the cost. We don't have to have all that levels of management anymore. We can bring the cost of leadership down. And then have efficient customer response systems so that more people at the right level can deal with clients in a responsive way. I said, okay, well, you have to talk to my manager about that. Well, I can't do anything. I have to talk to my manager about that. That's a certain level, there has to be a manager, but there doesn't have to be 15 levels of managers, all right? And then, as you're trying to get supplies, instead of, okay, it looks like we might, let's see, let me look at my stuff for the next month. Okay, we're going to need all this stuff. Let me get on the phone and go call these guys up here or go through their stuff and order it. If my IT services are running at the right level, that's maintaining my inventory, it can look and say, okay, if I've already, well, I don't even have to do it. Well, if I get the system right, my clients have already put in their request on what they want and when they need it. So if I'm supplying car seats, the bucket seats to GM, I've got a company that produces that part that they buy from me. And they've already put in an order that says, in the next 6 months, I need 150,000 of those seats. That tells me, okay, if it takes me 2 months to make them, and they need this many in 6 months, and it's by this point in time, I need this much stuff to do this. And so if their system automatically talks to our system that says that when they need it, my system can look and say, you don't have the stuff to make that yet. To make that, you need these things. These things come from these people. Let me order that from their system automatically so that it will be here at the right time so that I can make the stuff to be there at the right time. And then I don't have to have people sitting here with folders of paper and going here and doing this and making phone calls and, oh, well, that guy's on vacation right now. Well, when will he be back? In 2 weeks. I'm going to miss my deadline at that point. Well, let me go call somebody else. See, I need this from somebody. And, yeah. And what happens if you order different things from different people? You have different quality of product, most likely. Because if I need this certain fabric that this guy produces, but they don't have it and I need to get, oh, well, this one's a slightly different color. Well, okay, well, GM ordered it from me in this color, and if I substitute this color, they may not be happy, and so I need consistency, and that, so yeah, these systems get all that stuff out of the way. One of the other things we can do, I say, so low-cost leadership. That's our systems help bring you that. Product differentiation. They're making something that is so different than anybody else's that they have no choice but to come to you for it. Think of anything like that? Now, how many cell phones are out there? Now, computers. A lot of different computers out there, right? Well, if I can make something that's unique, then they'll come to me for it. So, is there anything different about an iPhone than an Android? Yeah, besides, I say, well, they all cost about the same now, and you can get really cheap versions of the Androids. That's the idea. There's there, and there's there, and 150 different companies make Android phones. How many companies make Apple phones? Just Apple. So they've got something that's different in a way that they want that, and by doing it in such a way, they can do a premium price for it. Other things of computers. If you have a Mac, a MacBook or an iMac or one of these computers, let's see, they're a little different than the other stuff. They run differently than PCs. And well, I say, well, they're targeting different people with it. And so if you make something that's so different, they'll come to you for that. Stuff like, well, they started making iPods. Well, now there's iPads and earpods and all this stuff. All of it works together too. Don't have to worry about compatibilities. If you just go ahead and get my brand, it all works together. Market niche. Well, let's go back to the Apple computer. There's a certain for the iMacs and stuff, there's a certain segment that they're targeting. And education and journalism, newspapers, things like that, the way that they use for editing, they really prefer the Macs for that. Image editing stuff, like Photoshop and things, the real pros of it prefer the Mac. And so they said, we're going to concentrate on very high-end graphics. The resolution on the Macs is much better than on the PCs. Well, why not? The people who are buying PCs are thinking, all right, I don't want to spend too much money. There's things I have to do, but yeah, I'm going to buy my $120 screen at Walmart, and that computer, yeah, okay, you got the $3,000 computer? Well, what about this $450 one over here? Yeah, they got different markets. You got the people who will pay for the extra power and the stability of the hardware and the graphical level, or those who want to spend as little as possible but get the most bang for the buck, we'll say. Because guess what? Apple isn't cheap. It's high quality. But, yeah. If you got it, you can buy it. It's like, are you going to go out and buy the Ferrari just because you need a car? Well, it depends. Is your 16-year-old, or are you going to buy the Ferrari? Or are you going to buy the old used Mustang? Here's your first car. It's a 15-year-old Mustang. Good luck. Yeah, it still looks kind of sporty. Just who cares about the dent in the side? You got to put more in it anyway, right? So, yeah. So you focus on your niche for it. Now, people doing PCs, who are they? Microsoft looks for a wide customer base. Let's get as many as we can on this. Apple is targeting a niche. We want to get everybody, this little part here, but we want all of them. Boom, here. We're going this way. All right. And then customer support. Well, customer and supplier intimacy. What does it mean for intimacy? No, we really know your customer. Because once again, if we're trying to concentrate on getting everybody, you really know your customer? Not really. But if we're working on this segment, you're getting to know them because I'm targeting that market. But intimacy being stuff of, let's see, what did I talk about? Coordination, keeping it all together, things that work in concert with each other. You know, we need to, yeah, words are leaving me at the moment. I've been talking too long, and I'm just going to start rambling. So we want to strengthen the intimacy or the customer relationship. Let's see, no, we call here it goes. Remember our triangle we talked about last time, that pyramid, and part of it was the customer relationship management software called CRMs, customer relationship management. There we go. Let me slow my tongue down. Maybe that will help. And since we get those customers so involved with us, switching to something else is going to be a pain in the backside. I said our Apple products. If I bought the iPhone, I probably bought the AirPods to go with it, not the off-brand. And if I've already got those, I've got my iPad, if I'm going to buy a computer, I might as well get the iMac because these are going to link over. It all uses my iCloud account. It's the marketing that Apple has done. Once you start using the Apple products, we get it all. And if I switch over to an Android, how do I get all my data from my iPhone to an Android? From the iCloud to my PC and all the things there. Microsoft has tried to do some stuff like that. Oh, OneDrive. Well, guess what? We're going to force you to use our OneDrive, so we'll kind of be like Apple. Oh, we're going to do this over here, so we'll kind of be like Apple. Oh, here's Teams. We're going to make it auto-load, so you'll use it. And so you'll have to use our other software. Oh, we're going to preload any computer coming out from Windows with a trial version of Microsoft Office so that you'll pay us more for that. And all that does is make me really mad at Microsoft. It's like, leave me alone. I know how I want to do things. So their strategy irritates me. Apple, I guess they've got me hooked. Now, I used to have Android stuff, but I got a little frustrated with some of it before. And after 3 different Androids, and once I got my Apple, I'm stuck with the Apple. So once again, it's been better quality than any of the Android stuff I've dealt with. And once again, well, who does the Android one? Well, you got Samsung, you got Motorola, and you've got all these other little Chinese countries, HTC, and all these. They're all Androids. There's only one Apple. That is the Apple. So the customer intimacy there. Now, how has the internet impacted our competitive advantage? And that's what we want to compete, right? And we want to be in charge. Well, the internet, as we have substitute products and services, well, easy to find them. We can go find substitutes really easy. I say, Amazon, okay, here I go. I go find whatever I need, right? Customers' bargaining power. Well, your bargaining power, once again, is I need to buy so much from you. If I buy more, can I get it at a cheaper price? And with this, we do here, and Well, you can't meet that. Maybe the guy over here can, because well, guess what? I might not even deal with someone local anymore. Usually that was the thing, you dealt with who was around. But by using the internet, I can find other people who can supply it. They can not even get it here faster to me. Used to have business cards made. The guy in town, okay, he could do a certain level of work on it, and he would take about 3 weeks to get them to me. And actually, one said like 500 cards might be like $80. And I found a little site on the internet that I can design it. I send them the file, and they show me online exactly what it will look like. Get it within the week. I've got it for $40. And I'm like, wow, guess what? Forget the local guy. I know he needs to feed his family too, but I need to feed my family. So the less I spend on business cards, the more I can keep for myself. And so you've got bargaining power that if you can't get it for me for this price, I can go over here and get it. And so they've got to adapt. Well, what do they have to do on their end? Well, they may have to change their processes on their end so they can compete against the other businesses online. Suppliers' bargaining power. Suppliers benefit from reduced barriers to entry. So a new supplier comes up is the idea. If before, I've got to come in, I've got to build a new building, I've got to do this, I hire the workers and do all this stuff here, get my name out, go around, get business to business till I can establish myself. Now, if I start off in my garage, I can go online, and my pictures, my website online can look just as great as the guys that are doing $200 million a year in sales. And it has 3 warehouses across 2 different states. I say, to the public, I can look the same. And if I can provide my stuff in just as good a time, it might be fewer at a time, but it's just me to you. You don't have to know I don't have all these other guys. As long as you get what you want for your price, so that gives me some power. I can come in with a lower cost. That barrier to entry. You're trying to start up, there's barriers, right? So you're entering the market, remove those barriers. So the threat of new entrants, yeah. Now, if I am the big guy, guess what? Those little guys are a threat to me that can come up and take away my customers. I don't even know who's out there. Positioning rivalry among existing competitors. So if guys I do know about, right? So all these different forces at work, and the internet doing stuff to help increase tension. Yeah. Like I said, it's not all that is bad though. Because guess what? All of that part can reduce our cost if we're using it. Let them find it out, and I get the benefits, right? And with all that, Google, Amazon, eBay, always creating new products and services. Since there's always this competition breeds new things because they want to lure more people. There's something new for me to go take advantage of. Let's see. Smart products and Internet of Things. You know what smart products are? We start getting things like our watches and stuff too, right? Yes, gadgets everywhere. Now, my watch talking to my phone. And I can use these things for my office doors, getting all around my building. I just come up, boop, lets me in because I've got my pass from UT Tyler. It's all in my phone and now my watch, and I can just use this as my key to get in, go up special places on elevators, whatever. Now, if I were to switch to a different brand, all that data is lost. So that's the part. It's you create. Let's see. Go with a new gadget from a different company. It's all gone. So it's a high cost of switching. Now, cost doesn't necessarily mean money. It's your time, your stuff like I said, your data. There's a cost to everything. So instead of keeping different products and all that Internet of Things, they're called IoT, all these little sensors everywhere and everything. If you start using one kind of sensor, use that same brand everywhere. My church is working on creating a mission church and taking over an old building that was from 1914, and we're redoing a lot of stuff in there. And as we're trying to do the lighting, the older systems, the stuff that's in there, we don't have to rewire the whole building just for modern technology. So we're putting in LED light bulbs that are Wi-Fi enabled, which means we can come in and from an app on the phone turn on all the lights and turn them off and do whatever to it. But guess what? Any light bulb we want to use that for has to be from the same company. So right now there's 60 light bulbs just in the sanctuary that are that way. So we've got one app to control 60 light bulbs. I wrote a special one so I can do it on the PC because their app doesn't do it on PC. You have to use a phone. Well, what if that guy's sick that day that has the phone for changing the lights? It's his account. Well, I wrote a PC program that overrides all that and lets us do it from the PC. But every light bulb has to be that same company's light bulb, or we cannot use on that system. So that'd be high cost of switching. All right, now value chains, business value chains, primary activities. You have inbound logistics. Do we have a picture? Yeah, we got a picture coming up on this part. So, but once again, this is a list of things, primary activities of a business value chain model. Inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, sales and marketing, service. So we'll discuss what all those mean. Support activities, administration and management, human resources, technology, so IT department, all this stuff. All right, procurement, getting stuff, right? What does all that mean? All right, let's put it in a picture. So here we have kind of the industry, they call this the industry value chain down here at the bottom. There we go. Just figure out where my camera's pointing. This all the little colored bars here. So here we are in the middle. We're the firm. Of course, we have suppliers getting us to us. Well, they have suppliers getting stuff to them. Now, from us, we may send to distributors, not directly to clients. Samsung, as I was an IT services company, I had a store. I sold Samsung TVs and Samsung soundbars, Lenovo computers and monitors, and well, I could not go to Lenovo and Samsung directly to get those. I went to a distributor of D&H or Tech Data or some of these different guys. They got the stuff from the other manufacturers. Then I had a one-stop shop. I could go to them and get my stuff at a discount and then sell to the public. So now let's say, okay, my company's here as the firm. I send to the distributors, like in this case I'm not Samsung or Lenovo, send to D&H, and then they sell to the other customers. Or they sell to like Best Buy and all these guys, and then Best Buy sells to the end customer. So you see how many people are involved in this, right? So we're going to just zoom in on the firm. So this is the stuff coming in here. So as suppliers send stuff in, and it comes into our warehouse. Okay, we have here's where it's listed, the inbound logistics part. Find that on the graphic here. inbound logistics, so warehousing systems. You've got things that are scanning in products. So you get bill of ladings that come in. Hopefully they've got something electronic. Here's your shipment. We bring that data into the system and know where we're putting stuff, how much we've got. It might have robots that are moving this around the warehouse. It might have people moving this around the warehouse. The guys with the forklifts, and you don't just pick it up and you'll stick it on a shelf somewhere. Hopefully you're organized and know there's a map that shows what is where. So you gotta have that all in some warehouse system, something that's tracking your inventory, where it is, when it's coming in. Operations, the next part, these are like the guys that are putting the stuff together, and taking whatever's in that warehouse to produce whatever we need to send out. Computer controlled machining systems, the automation of the factory floor, all these different things. Sales and marketing, yes, they are involved at this level because, once again, what are they doing? Hopefully they're selling stuff before we've made it. So get the orders in, and I will go make sure you make the stuff by the time you need it. Or after enough times of this, we can kind of get an idea of how much we're going to need where, so we can start building up to meet demand later. If we know there's like markets like this, so that more people buy stuff in January than they do in, actually no, that's kind of backwards. How about November to December? Christmas time coming up. Lots of sales to the consumer side, the consumer, big sales. Not so much in January, February, right? Or are they buying as much in August as they do in November to December? Well, what can we do? If we know they're going to be an uptick, they may not have ordered from us yet, but by seeing trends, we can max out our production in July and August, so that as those orders come in for here, we can still meet those without, let's hire some more people just so we can fire them afterwards. Fire. No, we can adapt our stuff to go. So that's what sales and marketing teaming with operations can determine on that part. Service. Well, if you make products, you might need to fix products, because nothing's going to be perfect. So there's always going to be things going wrong. So, or just even maintaining. If you sell something, it's over time, things will break. Okay, you have people trained and procedures for fixing them, and send out your technicians, however, all this stuff on it. And then the outbound logistics. So we've got inbound logistics on this end, outbound on that end. Especially as we've got everything, where do we, if we're stacking stuff up to sell later, we've got to store it somewhere, buffer it, and a way to get it all out at the right time, so that we meet their expectations. Okay, then on top of all of that, I said the procurement, the ordering systems, once again, it's keeping up with what needs to go out, so what we need to come in, what you've currently got, how fast you're producing. So that one works across the board, but it's not actually part of operations. It's not part of service. It's helping all of it. The technology being done on your email systems, everyone needs to email, right? So all that, the servers to handle all of that, even if down on the factory floor with the sensors, someone's in charge of the technology. So and then the networking layers, so all the systems talking to each other, the routers and switches and wiring and all that part. Human resources, the people who hire all these guys, they have to make sure you get the right people in the right places at the right times. And I say, and if you have the stuff doing this, works and no work, work and no work, then how do they know when they're going to need people? Oh, sorry, we just fired everybody. Oh, now you've got the orders? Okay, let me go hire a bunch of these. Let's see if we can hire all these people back we just fired. Oh, wait, they're really mad at us. You just ruined their holidays when you fired them. Oh, I'm sorry? Will you come back? Will we give you a pay raise? No, forget you. But yeah, if you have time and stuff you've invested in an employee, you kind of want to keep them as much as you can. So if we can level you out with work through the year, knowing, yeah, there we go. Administration and management. That's hopefully the people making the good decisions on how to do all this part. And how do they do that? By having the data from those systems so they can plan ahead. All right, all of that is our firm's value chain. Now, doing this, okay. I highlighted some stuff there for you. Now, if you can't make things, I say, well, let me get my thoughts together here again. The purpose of your company is to produce the best product you can. And if I'm going to compete against the other ones, I need to make a better product than them so that the people will come to me. If I can't make it better, if it's just the same value, try to make it a lower cost. And it's a lower cost to me, so that way I have a higher profit, or I can reduce the cost to them and sell more of them. Whichever way you're looking at. Yeah, Apple doesn't care about lower cost to you. They make a better profit. Because once again, well, they got about half the industry. Half the phones sold out there are iPhones. The other half, well, Samsung and that, they have to split all of that. So that's why they got that going, right? Benchmarking. How do I stand up to my competitors? I have to know how I'm doing. If I'm going to try to produce just as good as them, I need to know what they're doing, and how I compare. So the benchmarking, there's a lot of electronics. There's tests they run on them to benchmark them. So what kind of speed it's running compared to this one, and see, what is it? Consumer Reports is a magazine that comes out. They'll take all kind of products and do testing across all of them, and then rank them based off of that, so you can see how they're doing on it. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times, when I was selling electronics, running my way through college, people come in, oh, I want this model, it's here in this new thing of the Consumer Reports. Like, well, unfortunately, they took so long to run their tests and to generate their stuff and put this article out that exact model is no longer produced. That was last year's model. They got a new model this year, but I want this one. It doesn't exist anymore. You can go buy it used somewhere, but there's no new ones. So now, I say, hopefully there's faster data now. Because let's see, that was in the 90s. People really lived by that Consumer Reports guide. Now there's like everybody and their dog has their blogs where they're doing their little testing. Oh, look what I've got here. And so you just trust. I don't know if you trust the people on TikTok videos or not, but there it is. But what we also come up with is you look at best practices. By seeing what other people are doing, well, they can rule out manufacturing errors because of something that we're doing or the temperatures as we do the metal or something. They found if we do it with a slower ramp up or slower ramp down of the temperature, it's not as brittle as we make our golf club. So we caught on to what they're doing in their manufacturing process. That becomes a best practice. Let's implement that here, and we've ruled out that issue. And there are different software packages, one called SAP. That's an enterprise software to decision making and all this other kind of stuff. And as you do it, they have worked with so many companies over time that they've got however they configured the software for everyone. So, okay, for manufacturing areas and a such and such thing, here's best practices. We just import those pieces of the code. And for hospital kind of environments, here's something that we can do that imports that kind of the code. And so best practices, and pulls them in, and then you can fine tune your business process based off that. So once again, this is coming in from your stuff, other companies in the same industry, external industries, university research, or the government come up with the best practices for your industry, whatever you're doing. Now, how many companies do everything themselves? They start to finish, it's just me. Very few. Well, you have the suppliers, or you've got distributors, whatever. And so your services, supplies, and processes, a lot of times you are interacting with other partners to get that done. You've got things like synergies. This is, okay, probably all kind of produce the same thing. They're all different things, but we can work together with it. Example they're giving is a TV station, a TV conglomerate in India. Well, how about this? How many of y'all pay for streaming services? Yeah, so you had Disney streaming service, you've got Netflix streaming service, you've got Amazon Prime stuff. Well, if you go to like the CBS's, well, wait, it's not CBS having a streaming service, it's Paramount. Paramount Plus. I get over there, well, it's got CBS stuff, and it's got quite a few other companies' stuff all together under the Paramount Plus name. Max, well, HBO, Max, or Cinemax, and so all these a couple of different movie companies kind of teamed together for this one. Otherwise, who's going to go and get a streaming service that only has this much stuff on it? Or another streaming service only has this much stuff. Well, if they team up, okay, we can offer this much stuff and rival against this one over here for about the same price, or add on. that's it. How many of you only have one streaming service? Yeah, that's. How do I know how to these other ones go? Yeah, I'm paying for quite a few different streaming services, but they all have different stuff. That's the thing, and I don't want to pay $2 for this and $2 for this, $2. I'll do $6 for this because it's got enough there for me to mess with, so they can synergize together. You know what synergy means? Is that this person puts in this much effort, this one does this much effort, and it's not this much effort, it's not even this much effort put together, it's this much result. Because they synergize, they work together for a better result than the two individually can do apart. And that's the meaning of synergy. And that brings everyone wins at a much lower cost with better products and services. So if we can do that about other things, it's like, hey, let's partner on this. What if I wanted to do stuff with my IT services company? I can work on the computers. I don't want to get up in the attic and run the cables and install security camera stuff. If I don't have a security license, I can't put in the alarm systems. But I've got clients everywhere who would like that. What if I team with this guy in here? Your clients that you're doing this for, they need the computers worked on, but you don't want to do that. Well, we can work together. You install that part that you have the expertise. I do this part, and there we go. Or even if you're in a small business, guess what? Now, a lot of times your clients need you, but I want to go on vacation, and you're just getting pinged the whole time you're on vacation. Well, if you have another friend in the same business, hey, I'll cover for you, you cover for me. If you've got too much work this week, I'll take your overflow, and that way we keep all of our customers happy and running, because when someone loses their computer, they can't do anything, right? So what are we talking about? Systems, everyone uses a computer. And so everyone needs the IT guy, and they need him right now. My business can't wait till next week when you get back. So yeah, we can synergize and work together on things. And it says, and we want to enhance our core competency. What is your core competency? That's what you are good at. I say, Ford, as their thing. What is their core competency? Making vehicles. But if they're shipping parts, see, they have to make the replacement parts for those vehicles too. So there's some people out there that, hey, I've got the old 1952 Ford I'm restoring. I need some parts for this or something. But I don't know if they still have some parts of those in stock. Somebody has some parts somewhere. But if they're going to have to ship all this stuff, do they have their own shipping department? That, well, they used to and stuff, but they're like, well, there's some people who are better at this. One of the best ones now is that if I order something on Amazon and I need to send it back, they say, oh, take it to the UPS store. Here's a code to scan when you get there. So I go there, I scan this in. It says, okay, it's going to print a ticket. They'll have a box there for you. Or actually, now, so just put it in this bag and slap this label on it. They'll put it into a box, they'll zip it up, and they'll ship it out where it needs to go. And so Amazon doesn't have their own part to handle all the returns and everything on the shipping wise. They have partnered with UPS to handle that logistics. And so, being we give you a code, we've got special computers sitting at UPS. You just go do this. UPS will take care of it from there. It's easier for me. It's easier for them. UPS gets to do the work because they've got that down. One thing not so good, now, Amazon and UPS have a real strong relationship because of all the shipping stuff they'll do, but sometimes UPS also has a relationship with the post office. And while Amazon ships it to UPS, UPS drops it off at your local post office for the post office to send it to your house. So a lot of times it shows it's been delivered. And you're like, no, it hasn't. It's not here. Oh, they gave it to the post office, so you get that. Post office will eventually get it to you in like 4 days. But we got it to them within 2 days. Now it's up to them to get it to you. How that's cheaper, I don't know. It's not saving anybody anything. But they've got some partnerships going. So maybe it's just post office like, hey, you're running me out of business. How can I get in on this? So network-based strategies. What's some network-based things we're talking about? There's virtual companies. What a virtual company is? It's a company that doesn't really exist. No, not really. They're all kind of a software-based company. They're going to do service. A software service, software as a service, SaaS, sometimes they'll present this as. Some things is you have paid a certain amount for something, and it doesn't cost you any more to add extra employees. I say, well, in this case, it's talking about a client server network. You paid for a server that can support so many people. You've already paid for all the hardware. Adding other people doesn't cost you anything. You've invested already to it. So now, yeah, you might as well use them. If you've got space sitting there not being used. It's like you have a warehouse this big or a business office this big, but you only have this many people over here. It doesn't cost you anything more. Well, you might have to put a desk and cubes in, but square footage isn't going to cost you anything extra to put more people. But with a virtual company now talking about, I've already talked to quite a bit about QuickBooks and stuff like that. Instead of you having to do all that work yourself, somebody else is doing that work for you. You've kind of outsourced your accounting work to QuickBooks, or at least the payroll portion. So we can send. There's other companies out there now that are advertising, we'll do all the payroll for you, whatever, or you can go do your business and they'll do that part for you. Yeah. retirement plans, other employee benefit programs. Who are we using here and at UT Tyler? There's an app I pull up that says Benefit Place. So I can handle all that. So it's someone else is handling all those benefit things for all the employees, and just as app entry to it. That way we don't have to have specialists here at UT Tyler to handle that. There's other people who can specialize. And guess what? They don't do it just for them. They do it for all these other people too. So they specialize in that for lots of different people. And so it's not like there's a company across the street that handles our benefits. It's all online. You go to a lot of your hospital places and clinics, all of your data and everything now, they do everything through a web page. And so type in your data and it's all stored remotely. It's not stored on their computers. So if something fails here, the building burns down, they didn't lose data. A hacker gets into their systems, they did not get your personal HIPAA data. Now, if they hack that company, they get everybody's data. Just go pick on them, don't pick on us. And they have the responsibility then to protect it. Ransomware hits us, your data's fine because it's off-site. Things like that. It's the reason why you want to go with things like this. All right, and then so that's the outsource that work to other vendors. And well, we don't have to just outsource work to those vendors. We outsource all kind of things. Once again, certain parts I need made of a certain thing, I can outsource to another company, right? And most of the internet stuff will help us control things better. We can see their systems, not actually see all their systems, just interact with their systems. Their system talk to our system to handle all that information we need. No longer tied to suppliers and business partners located right here. So we can go anywhere in the world. They don't have to be right here. As long as they can get stuff to us when we need it. But as far as like all that data collection part, now that is also a danger. I'm making do all yes. I'm going to do all this hospital data to this third-party company and use all their interface for the billing. They'll do all the billing and everything for me, whatever I put in, right? Where are they located? You go to their web page, it's got like a little address down here at the bottom that says something like someplace in Maryland. But you find out that's just a P.O. box. Where's the company for real? Oh, somewhere in the Czechia, the old Czech Republic. Maybe that's where they really are. Like, what? But where's my data? Eastern Europe. Is it secure? We say it is. See, read right here. It says it's secure. Can they prove it? Well, only if hackers get in it. But maybe they're the hackers themselves. Who knows? Now, secured your data. Ecosystems things, okay. When it comes down to another strategic model, meaning ecosystem. What does that mean? What is an ecosystem? Then you put a little bubble over it, and everything in here relies on each other. Then you got people using the oxygen, trees that are consuming their carbon dioxide to reproduce oxygen, and all the water in here, the little ecosystem, right? Well, we have businesses that are like that. I say smartphones. Well, how good is a smartphone all by itself? How useful is it? You charge it up and you turn it on, and well, can't do much. Well, we do need a cell service to go with it, right? So, hey, Apple phone, let's use the Verizon service or T-Mobile service, right? Okay, we did them on here. Well, still not much good other than making phone calls, right? We had cell phones that could do that before, and starting in the 90s and into 2000s. 2010, we got the smartphone. What else do we put on the smartphone? How about the apps? Hey, our games, our calculators, our cameras, you name it, it's on here, right? So we have the apps. Does Apple make the apps? Some of them. But I say 200,000 different apps out there. Apple didn't make all of them. I've made some. But now, okay, so we put the apps on to our smartphone that's got Verizon service. Now, how does that app communicate to us? Well, we kind of need the internet. Normal cell service doesn't have internet, but they team in with internet service providers that can do cell service, internet service over the cell network. But Verizon Wireless themselves, or T-Mobile, or AT&T, well, AT&T does have some of the backbone stuff, but it's a different division of the company. Remember how we talked about GM has this, and this? Okay, different divisions of AT&T between the wireless and the internet. But things that can work together. I can have AT&T cell service and Cherokee County Electric internet service that I tapped into to download my iCloud Apple app on my Apple smartphone. So mix and match, but it's all part of the ecosystem. None of those four things there work by themselves. And what is the internet if you don't have apps to run across it? Even web browsers and email clients. It's no good without the apps. Apps are no good if you don't have something to run them on. And that device can't work if it doesn't have the cell service to make it wireless to talk over any of that. So, yeah, they all have to work together. And so different businesses rely on other businesses. And let's see, is there anything really important on this part? How do you sustain your advantage? You say, well, you got to keep constantly changing. Just because we've got our technology stuff here now, and we adapted, and we put that technology to use, okay, we're good for another 40 years, right? Now, something else is going to come out. Doesn't mean we have to adapt every new piece of technology that comes out. And we will be spending too much money and not maintain our competitiveness if we're just too busy chasing that. If our purpose of being, our core competency of our business is technology, we may need to be doing that. We may be helping develop. That might be what we're developing is technology. But if we're in a law office, we don't need to sit here and change our systems all the time, do we? But sometimes when something new comes out that we can take advantage of, go do it. And we have something that can generate all those legal forms that are tied into government systems. Okay, government just passed all this new stuff. Okay, we have a system that they put that into, a third-party system that just monitors government new laws that are passed and when they take effect, and can make our forms when we pull up to type in, okay, here's our client's information, pull in their information, stick into the form automatically, boop, 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 boop. I push 5 buttons and okay, here's your will, here's your divorce papers, here's whatever, and I'm going to charge you for 5 hours of work even though I just pushed 5 buttons. They did it all for me. Yeah, however that part works. But we need to make sure that our IT aligns with our business objectives. Managing strategic transition. So if you do make changes, you got to manage that part. So overall thing for this whole chapter right there. A strategic information system that is integrated throughout the company can be used to lower overall cost and provide greater value to the company, the supplier, and the customer. So whoever gets stuff to us doing it, and out the door to them, that's what it's all about. So, got to be strategic. Only do what really helps you. You got to get those people on board. You got to get our processes tuned, all that fun stuff. So that's chapter 3. You'll be looking for some homework off of that here within the next day or two. And we'll see you for chapter 4 next time.